Hi, my name is Patrick Reagan. This video will discuss the disassembly and reassembly of a tower computer with focus on removing and installing hard drives, power supply, and expansion cards. This is the third of four videos for disassembly and reassembly of computers. The first video showed you how to disassemble and reassemble a mini computer, while the second video showed the disassembly and reassembly of a desktop computer. The tower computer complexity is similar to a desktop computer. It's recommended that you watch the disassembly and reassembly of mini computers and the disassembly and reassembly of desktop computers before watching this video. This video won't cover removing a motherboard and processor since the concepts are similar in previous videos. However, this video will discuss on researching the motherboard used in this system. The tower computer is similar to a desktop computer. Instead of lying flat, the tower computer stands upright. It's usually bigger, which allows for more expansion cards, full-size expansion cards, and more hard drives. This system was built from scratch as a gaming computer instead of being purchased from a large vendor. Antec is the vendor for the case. The system has two USB connectors and some audio jacks. It also includes an LG DVD drive. Similar to the videos on mini computer and desktop computer, we will identify the ports available on the computer. This is not too much different from the previous videos. While the system is older than the previous systems, you can see that it has multiple USB-A ports, including two USB 3.0 Super Speed Type A ports. It also has an RJ45 network jack, legacy PS2 mouse and keyboard jacks, and multiple audio jacks. Since tower computers have room for more expansion cards, this particular system has a video card with an HDMI and two DVI ports and a fiber optics network card. Opening the tower case is a little bit different as there is a left and right panel. While some panels are held by Phillips screws, these panels are removed with thumb screws. Of course, when you work inside the computer, you should use a properly connected ESD strap. In addition, you should disconnect the power cable from the computer. As you look inside the computer, you can identify the power supply, a large video card, a large processor heatsink and fan solution, a DVD drive, and multiple SATA hard drives. This slide shows another view of the drives where you can see the power and data connectors. To remove the SATA drive, you must first disconnect the power cable and data cable from the drive. The drives are held with 4 screws, 2 on each side. Therefore, on the one side, you remove the 2 screws. You then go to the other side and remove the other 2 screws. You then slide the drive from the drive bay. To install the drive, you just reverse the process. You slide the drive into the drive bay. The drive will have 6 screw holes. You need to align 2 of the drive holes to the drive bay holes. You then screw the Phillips screws into place on one side. You then screw the Phillips screws into the other side. You then connect the power connector and data connector to the drive. The larger connector with the various colored wires is the power cable, and the smaller connector is the data connector. As you can see, both of these connectors have an L-shaped plug to make sure you connect the connectors properly. While the power connector comes from the power supply, the data cable connects to the motherboard. As you can see from the pictures on the right, the motherboard supports up to 4 SATA connectors, which only one is being used at this time. To remove the power supply is a little bit more complicated than the desktop computer because there are more power connectors provided by the power supply. You must first disconnect the main power connectors that connect to the motherboard. This particular system has a 24-pin ATX power connector and a supplemental 8-pin power connector that connects to the motherboard. To remove these connectors, you must press against the latch to release it and pull the connector away from the motherboard. More of these connectors will be shown shortly. You will also remove the dry power connectors. The power supply is usually held by 4 Phillips screws. After the screws are removed, you can just slide out the power supply. To install the power supply, you just reverse the process. First, you place the power supply back into the case. Then you screw the screws into the case that holds the power supply in place. You'll then plug in the 24-pin ATX power connector, the 8-pin supplemental power connector, and the dry power connectors. This slide shows the 24-pin ATX power connector. The latch is on the right side. This slide shows the 8-pin power connector. To remove an expansion card, you remove the screw that holds the card into place, and then remove the card up and away from the expansion slot. This slide shows the expansion slots on the motherboard. It includes 2 PCI slots and 3 PCI Express slots. To install an expansion card, you just reverse the process. Slide the card into the expansion slot and fasten the card with the holding screw. As you can see, this motherboard in this system is an ASRock 970 Pro 3 motherboard. Similar to finding the service guide for computers, you can search for ASRock 970 Pro 3 motherboard manual to find the manual for this specific motherboard using your favorite browser. After you open the PDF file, the manual will show you the layout of the motherboard and how to configure the motherboard. In summary, a tower computer will usually have more expansion options compared to a desktop computer, including more expansion slots and more drive bays. When working inside a computer, you should use a properly connected ESD strap. SATA drives should be held into place by 4 screws. SATA drives require a power connector and a data connector. The power supply will have multiple power connectors that connect to the motherboard and SATA drives. Expansion cards are held in place with a single screw. If you purchase a motherboard, you can search for and download the manual for the motherboard that show you the layout of the motherboard and how to configure the motherboard. Thank you for watching this video. Look for further videos on disassembly and reassembly of the laptop computer. If you have not already, subscribe to the Pat Has Your Back channel. Thank you.